She said I was too emotional to teach, then told everyone I was dangerous, planted substances in my classroom, and had me arrested in front of my students. When I finally asked her what I did to deserve this, she laughed and said, "You got in my way." I stayed silent. That was 10 weeks ago. This morning, she was removed from the courtroom screaming. I was checking my phone outside Macy's when I heard the screaming. A boy, maybe 7 or 8, was on the ground near the fountain, hitting his head against the concrete. His mother was trying to hold him, but he kept pulling away, his face red and twisted in distress. My interview at Starbucks was in 15 minutes. I'd been unemployed for 8 months since the district eliminated special education positions. My savings were gone, and my landlord had given me 1 more week. But something made me stop. The mall security guard was already on his radio, and people were filming. I recognized the self-injuring behavior immediately. I'd seen it countless times in my classroom from other kids with Down syndrome. I dropped my bag and sat on the ground about 3 feet away. "Hi," I said to the mom. "I used to work with kids. Can I help?" She nodded desperately, tears streaming down her face. I noticed the boy kept looking up at the skylight where the sun was creating harsh shadows. I pulled out my phone and opened an old teaching app, a simple color wheel that shifted slowly between hues. I placed it where he could see it. "Look," I said softly. Blue, now green, now purple. His hitting slowed. I started humming a repetitive 3-note pattern I'd used with my students. After about 10 minutes, he was sitting up, watching the colors. His mom was finally able to hold him. "The lights and shadows," she whispered. "He can't process them." I stayed for 30 minutes until he was completely calm. By then, I'd missed my interview. Starbucks wouldn't reschedule, but for the first time, I felt like everything would be okay somehow. And 3 days later, I got the call. The woman introduced herself as Lauren. It was the mother from the mall. She'd convinced security to share my contact information. "I need to tell you something," she said. "I run the largest developmental therapy center in the state. We specialize in Down syndrome and other developmental disabilities. I've never seen someone de-escalate behavior that effectively." I almost laughed. 8 months of rejection, and now this? She asked if I had experience with special needs children, and that's when I told her I had a master's in special education. But I was fired because they said I was too emotional for the job, before replacing me with a man who had less qualifications. She insisted on meeting me, and I agreed. When I walked into Bright Horizons Center, I was stunned. Sensory rooms, one-on-one therapy spaces, adaptive technology everywhere. Nothing like the underfunded classroom I'd lost. "We've been looking for a lead teacher for months," Lauren said. "Starting salary is $85,000, full benefits." I thought she was joking. She wasn't. But here's where it gets crazy. My second week, a 4-year-old named Marcus enrolled. Nonverbal, with a history of aggressive behaviors. His previous daycare had expelled him after he drooled on all the tables. His parents were desperate. His mom hadn't been able to work or receive respite in 2 years. During his first day, I noticed him tapping a pattern: pinky, ring, middle, pointer, thumb, repeat. When he started getting agitated, instead of restraining him, I mirrored his tapping on the table. He stopped, stared at my hand, then smiled. We talked through tapping patterns for the next hour. Lauren watched from the observation window. That afternoon, she called me in. I thought I'd overstepped. Instead, she said, "Would you consider getting certified in our proprietary communication method? I'll cover all costs. You have instincts we can't teach." 6 months later, I developed our nonverbal communication program. Marcus now uses a tablet to communicate and hasn't had an aggressive incident in months. His mom went back to work